Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to the Find Your Soul show. This is Pip Coleman coming in to share with you some insights, some aha moments, a little bit of moon magic, and some angel / wild woman. We're going to have a bit of a conversation about the wild woman today because the full moon tonight is this week. It's all about Leo. It's all about the full moon is in the sign of Leo, which is about going wild. It's about that pride, that letting go of things that you might have been too prideful of and releasing them. And it's also about embracing and being proud of the things that you've done well, the successes that you've had. So welcome to the show. Say hey from wherever you're coming in, and welcome. It's always nice to have you here, and hopefully I'll be able to, comment today. Sometimes I can't see your comments and that makes it tricky, but I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you. As I said, tonight is the full moon in Leo. So that means that we're going to be, as Yasmin Boland in her beautiful manifestation oracle card says, that it's all about going wild. As you can see, that line is going wild in that picture. He's going wild. And that means that tonight, if you're going to be doing any releasing work, which most people do on the full moon, then we need to be looking at things that we have been prideful about, things that we have done that, might have been more ego-based rather than soul-based. So tonight, if you're doing your, list of things to release and forgive, then they will be around those sorts of the energy of pride, the energy of, what is it that we need to let go that we did, this last month. And the other thing that I encourage you to do is to think about the things that you're proud of from the last month, because there's always two sides to the coin, There's not always the bad side of pride. There's the good side of pride as well. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about the wild woman today because I wanted to comment on the fact that, first of all, this card has a male lion on it. And it says go wild. And that was interesting because this morning I was thinking about how the wild woman is not something that we embrace enough. That allowing ourselves, that letting go and being free kind of feeling is something that gets squashed a lot. Not just with women, but a lot in women, a lot of us. And if you resonate with that, you might want to put a little thumbs up and let me know how you're feeling. But for me, I wanted to make a comment around that whole energy of being wild and what that means. So one of the things that we need to do is embrace that pride energy. So this tonight, after you've done your releasing work and you've put down your things that you're not proud of in the last month, things that you got a little bit caught up in your ego, write those down, burn them, release them, forgive yourself. I forgive myself for being prideful. I forgive myself for letting my ego run away with it, myself, and let that stuff go. That's what tonight is all about. That's what the full moon encourages us to do, is to release and let go. And after that, I encourage you to write down the answer to this question. And that is, which of my talents, assets, or personality traits am I most proud of? It's okay to be proud of yourself as long as you stay humble, So write down the things that you're most proud of, and then perhaps the things you're proud of in terms of yourself, who you are as a person. Also, write down the things that you're proud of in terms of the things that you've done this month. What are the successes that you've had? Have a little brag session, and write them down. And if you feel brave enough, then you might like to share that with somebody that you trust, perhaps a trusted friend or a partner, or maybe you'd like to share it with me. I'm happy if you want to send me an email or send me a PM, send me a message and say, hey, Pip, I'm proud of these things this month. I did this and this and this, and, I'm proud of this part of my personality, and I'm proud of this thing. I'd love for you to share those things with me, because if you feel that you're safe to share things like that, then you're more likely to embrace them in your life. So you don't have to share it in these comments, but I'd love it if you want to. By all means, share things that you're proud of in this space, because that's wonderful for other women to see each other, and support each other and celebrate each other in our things that we're proud of. And also celebrating the wildness, celebrating the wild woman and embracing the wild woman. And the reason why that's come up for me at the moment is because for my spiritual book club this month, we are reading the book called Women Who Run with the Wolves. I'm not sure if you've seen that book, but I was thinking about this conversation about going wild with the full moon in Leo. And I opened it up to page 11 of Women Who Run with Wolves. And of course, it was the perfect quote. It was talking about women and the similarities between women and wolves. So have a listen to this. A healthy woman is much like a wolf, robust, chock full, strong life force, life-giving, territorially aware, inventive, loyal, roving. Yet, separation from the wildish nature causes a woman's personality to become meagre, thin, ghostly, spectral. We are not meant to be puny with frail hair and the inability to leap up, the inability to chase, to birth, to create a life. When women's lives are in stasis or filled with ennui, it is always time for the wildish woman to emerge. It is time for the creating function of the psyche to flood the delta. And I think that's so cool, that concept of the healthy wild woman is the same as a wolf. And that's what she talks about in this book, is embracing that wild essence that is actually truly who women are. And the reason why we feel not great, the reason why we don't feel like we're living our fullest lives, is usually because we are squashing that wild nature. Do you get what I mean? Like it's we're constantly sort of being told to be a certain way and not do lots of things. We're held back in a lot of ways. And for many, things are starting to change, obviously, and the balance is coming back in terms of equality and things like that. We are moving in the right direction, and we also need to recognize that when we're feeling those feelings of resentment, frustration, anger, depression, when we're feeling those feelings, it's because we're squashing our essential nature, our true nature, your true nature. So be aware of those feelings. Start to be aware of those feelings, and then you can start to move in the direction of, what do I need to say? Who do I need to be? How do I need to embrace more of that wildness and go wild at the full moon? This full moon is a time to acknowledge that, And this morning I was doing some dancing with the Body Groove app. I've worked out how to put it on my smart TV, which is so cool. So I was dancing away, and they had a song on there that was called Unstoppable. And we were doing this move, and then the words of the song were, I am a warrior. And the women that were dancing on this track were like, I am warrior, yeah. And like they were encouraging us to say those words out loud. And it feels so freeing, We don't do that enough. We have these sort of, roles that we play as women. And so it's not always something that feels comfortable to embrace that warrior, that wild wolf spirit that women actually really resonate with quite deeply. And that's why we feel that need to run free like a cheetah. And so it makes sense. It made a lot of sense to me this morning that all of these things lined up in readiness for my conversation with you. So one of the things that Yasmin suggests for this full moon is to embrace the energy of Medusa. And the goddess Medusa is the one with the snake head. I don't know if you remember her. She has lots of snakes that come out the top of her head. And I'm not sure if it's actually her head or a hat. But anyway, she has snakes out of the top of her head. And if you look at the snakes, then you turn to stone or you die or something, salt, something. Anyway, I can't remember the full story. I should have really read up on that before I did this show. But anyway, the point is that Medusa is a strong, feminine, powerful, empowered goddess. So if you're wanting to tap into the energy of this full moon, aside from that lioness energy, you might also like to tap into, if you're not an animal person, you might like to tap into the goddess Medusa. And you can sit quietly and put on your cinnamon. Yasmin suggests cinnamon essential oil because cinnamon is warming. It brings the fire. So that's why when you drink cinnamon drinks like chai, if you have chai with cinnamon on top, or if you actually drink cinnamon tea, it helps to bring the fire, helps to warm the body, similar to ginger. It brings that energy in. And so if you put your cinnamon essential oil on, or you have a drink of cinnamon tea, and then you do a little meditation by calling in the goddess Medusa, you'll bring in that energy of the feminine, the strength, the warrior spirit that will help you embrace this full moon energy. And then perhaps you might like to do your journaling on the things that you're proud of. That could be your little ritual for tonight. So after you've done your releasing and letting go of the things you're not so proud of. So that's my suggestion for the full moon tonight, is to bring in that energy of the wild woman. And I wanted to read you a little story as well, because when I mentioned the cheetah before, any sort of, cat seems to bring in that energy of wildness for us, doesn't it? It's quite interesting that happens. But I wanted to read a little part of one of my favourite books. It's called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And there's a bit at the very beginning where she's talking about going to the zoo with her daughter, and they see a cheetah. They're watching the zookeeper feeding the cheetah and getting the cheetah to chase a bunny, and there's a whole show that happens with this cheetah. Anyway, the cheetah's name is Tabitha. Okay, so that's to explain where where the people, and her daughter's name is Tish. So when I explain this, when you hear the story, you'll understand. So this is how it goes. We can, so I'll start from the bit where after the zookeeper has done the show, after the show of the zookeeper. So I didn't clap, I felt queasy. The taming of Tabitha felt familiar. I watched Tabitha gnawing that steak in the zoo dirt and thought, day after day, this wild animal chases dirty pink bunnies down the well-worn narrow path they cleared for her. Never looking left or right, never catching the damn bunny, and settling instead for a store-bought steak and the distracted approval of sweaty strangers. Obeying the zookeeper's every command, unaware that if she remembered her wildness just for a moment, she could tear those zookeepers to shreds. When Tabitha finished her steak, the zookeeper opened a gate that led to a small fenced field. Tabitha walked through the gate, closed behind her. The zookeeper picked up her megaphone and asked for questions. A young girl, maybe 9 years old, raised her hand and asked, "Isn't Tabitha sad? Doesn't she miss the wild?" "I'm sorry, I can't hear you," the zookeeper said. "Can you ask that again?" The child's mother said louder, "She wants to know if Tabitha misses the wild." The zookeeper smiled and said, "No, Tabitha was born here. She doesn't know any different. She never seen any wild. This is a good life for Tabitha. She's much safer here than she would be out in the wild." While the zookeeper began sharing facts about cheetahs born in captivity, my older daughter Tish nudged me and pointed to Tabitha. There in that field, away from the zookeepers, Tabitha's posture had changed. Her head was high and she was walking the periphery, tracing the boundary fence created. Back and forth, stopping only to stare somewhere beyond the fence. It was like she was remembering something. She looked regal and a little scary. Tish whispered to me, "Mummy, she's turned wild again." I nodded at Tish and kept my eyes on Tabitha as she stalked. I wished I could ask her, "What's happening inside you right now?" And I knew what she'd tell me. She'd say, "Something's off with my life. I feel restless and frustrated. I have this hunch that everything was supposed to be more beautiful than this. I imagined fenceless, wide open savannas. I want to run and hunt and kill. I want to sleep under an ink black, silent sky filled with stars. It's all so real I can taste it." And then she'd look back at the cage, and the only home she's ever known. She'd look at the smiling zookeepers, the bored spectators, and her panting, bouncing, begging best friend. She'd sigh and say, "I should be grateful. I have a good life here. It's crazy to long for what doesn't even exist." And I'd say, "Tabitha, you are not crazy. You are a goddamn cheetah." I love it. Gives me tingles. And that is from the book Untamed. And it's the prologue actually. It's at the very beginning of the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. So, things to ponder on, things to think about. Some of you have read Untamed already. I know Jodie, who's watching right now, she's definitely read that book and she knows how that really resonated. It resonated with me, and I think it's time. It's time for us to, as women, to step into that wildness. And if this full moon in Leo is the time when you start to step into your wildness and embrace the wild woman within, great. I look forward to hearing from you when you share that wildness, and that would be amazing. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is there is an affirmation for this full moon, which I've put in the little blurb. The affirmation is, "I live in the present and release all past pain." I live in the present and release all past pain. You might like to do that as a little tapping, maybe. I live in the present and release all past pain. You can tap on all the tapping points if you want to, and you could, think about Medusa. You could think about that beautiful cheetah, Tabitha, or maybe you could think about the wild woman within you as you tap and release and let go this full moon in Leo. That would be amazing. And please, as I say, feel free to share with me. Send me a message, the things that you're proud of, that'd be cool. Put them in this comment, under the comments in the feed here so that I can respond to them and so that other people can celebrate with you if you want to. That would be amazing. And if you want to work a little bit more with the moon, coming up on the 1st of March is my next new moon and angel alignment workshop, the online workshop. I've put the link in the blurb so you can read a little bit more and book your tickets. You can bring a friend, and the ticket is a 2-for-1 offer. So if you buy the ticket, you can bring a friend with you. It's on the Tuesday, the 1st of March at 6:30 till 8:30, and we're going to be diving into the new moon energy, and it is in Pisces on the 1st of March. So we can start setting our new moon intentions. Maybe you could set a new intention for you to embrace your wild woman more. And how are you going to be? What are you going to do? What would you like to do for the next month that would embrace that wild woman spirit? So that's something to think about if you'd like to join me for the new moon and angel alignment. And I work with the archangels as well as the energy of whatever new moon we are in to help you to manifest what it is that you want in your life. So once you've done your releasing at the full moon, then you need to step into that. What would I like to create instead? That's awesome. The other thing that's coming up, and so that you know in advance, if you're thinking about maybe learning how to do Reiki, for example, the energy healing technique, I have a Reiki course that is currently going, which is amazing, and for term 1, and in term 2 there's one starting on the 3rd of May. So if you would like to join the next Reiki course, please feel free to send me a message to book in a chat if you'd like to ask me some questions, or you can go to my website pipcoleman.com and have a look at the Reiki courses and just read through. If it resonates with you, then we can look at signing you up for the 4 sessions of Reiki 1, the certificate course, so that you could do Reiki energy healing for yourself and for the other people in your family. That would be awesome if you have your own healer there every day, so you can take care of yourself and be calm and soothed and healed from any pain that you're having, and bring yourself that peace rather than necessarily having to go and see a practitioner. How awesome would that be? So that you can actually do it on a daily basis, and you can incorporate it into your meditation practice and help yourself to go to sleep, and all of those wonderful things that we need help with on a daily basis. All in your own hands. Amazing. So it's a pleasure, as always. My name's Pip Coleman, and I look forward to seeing you next week for the Find Your Soul show. And we will be talking about waxing, the waxing moon next week. So have fun, have a great week, release lots of prideful things, get excited about the stuff that you are proud of, and enjoy this full moon. And I will see you next week. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.